Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Seattle Angel Workshop Series. We do this as a part of our Seattle Angel Conference, where we are going to be doing 1-minute pitches for the Seattle Angel Conference 25 in a week. And so we thought that maybe there was some skills associated with the question of how do you do a pitch in the context of being online? We have Dana Robinson, who is an active angel with the E8 Angel Group, but she's also a pitch coach who spends a lot of time working on that question and specifically has been experiencing the online thing. So I'm going to just turn it over to Dana and then we'll go from there.
Hi there, everybody. Thank you so much, John. It's wonderful to be here. I'm going to encourage you all to take notes, get out some paper, put your phone on silent. We're going to have some Q&A at the end, so we'll have plenty of time. And I'm going to also ask you to do some responses in the chat. So this is in a little bit interactive, even though there's too many people for us to talk to each other as we go. But I want you all to really participate and to think about some of the stuff that I'm asking. Particularly, I'm going to ask you to put yourself in other people's shoes in various times. Would you please put in the chat where you're calling from? Because I love to see the variety of places where people attend from on these online events. That's the biggest benefit of online events, is people are calling in from all over the world. And you're welcome to include your LinkedIn so that we can connect with each other, but we'll be doing more of that at the end. There's a few things I want you to really think about, though, when you're pitching online. All right. And the first of that, these are the key things to think about when you're pitching online. And the first one is to be memorable. How can you set yourself up to be memorable? And second, I want you to be engaging. And third, how can you create a great impression? Because these things are not so easy in an online pitch. And the reason I talk about this is that I've seen a lot of online pitches over the last 4 or 5 years. And I've noticed that it's hard to keep people's keep their attention and to pay attention and to feel like we're interacting. So we really want to create this environment. So set your stuff back for just a second on this part about being memorable. The goal of any pitch, when you're in that process of pitching, is to make sure that people understand and remember what you have to say. So you really want to be remembered. And this is harder online because we're not in that in-person situation where we can tell if people are getting confused. We can then adapt if they look like they're not really getting it. And we can chat before and after, have some questions and connect with them. So, it's so much easier in person to make sure that people get it. Whereas when we're online, we're competing with a lot of other distractions. They might be in a place that's noisy. They have their phone in front of them. Their computer notifications are popping up. And here's the thing. If they get bored or confused, they're going to give up and start checking their email or their text messages. So I want you to really think about being memorable, that is a goal to succeeding in a pitch. In fact, my goal for you is that days after your pitch, that the investors you spoke to will remember what you do and why they like you. But I know that this is not easy because most presentations and pitches are actually not that memorable. So I'm kind of sorry to say that, but it's the truth. And I'll give you an example. I want you to think of a presentation that you've seen in the last month or two, where you showed up, you were watching this online, there were slides, and you watched it for 20 or 30 minutes and thought, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then a week later, someone says to you, hey, how was their presentation? And you went, oh, yeah, it was great. They did a really good job. Oh, well, what did they say? How much would you remember, percentage-wise, of that presentation, of the content? Would it be 10%, 5%, 20%, 50%? Like, how much of that content do you think you would remember a week later? Put that number in the chat. And don't worry, be honest. It's okay if it's whatever you think is realistic. So I see, okay, oh, a very precise 7. I like that. A 3. You guys are very exact. Okay, so pretty low numbers, between 3 and 15%. Okay, maybe up to 40. Oh, here's a really precise one, 4.75. I like that. Okay, this is an interesting, precise group. I love it. I ask this question all the time. Like every time I'm talking to people and giving these and chatting to investors and founders, and most of the time, the answers I get are between 5 and 10%. All right, so that's the realistic number of what people remember. The thing is they put a lot of work into that presentation, and we remember only a little bit. So I want you to now imagine you've given a pitch, and then a week later, somebody that heard your pitch is talking to their boss or their business partner or their angel group, and they're asked, so tell us about it in any interesting founders you've met recently. Will they remember you and why they like you a week after your pitch? Okay, this is what we're after here, being memorable. Because I see a problem in investor discussions all the time. Investors admit that they don't remember a pitch. We'll be talking about some pitches in a follow-up meeting a few days after hearing some pitches. And I often hear them say things like, oh, I didn't get it. Or did they even talk about their business model? Can't remember. Or worse, remind me what they do. So if you're going to get invited back to a follow-up meeting, it's important to be remembered. So I always emphasize being remembered because it's an integral part of communication skills. And I became obsessed with communication skills early in my career. I used to do presentation skills training. Well, I still do, but now I'm focused on pitch training. But as a presentation skills trainer, I've worked in Asia, in Europe, and in the US. So I've worked with people in lots of different industries and from different cultures. And as an angel investor, I'm always listening to the content that investors are looking for. And I've seen hundreds of pitches as an angel investor. And then when I'm wearing, so I wear 2 hats when I listen to pitches. The angel investor who's looking for the content that investors want, and the trainer hat, which is where I notice how people are communicating and what's going on when something really works. And also what's going on when something's not working. So that's why I started pitch training, so that I can help founders create effective pitches that are impactful. And one of the things that I have noticed over the years is this is the common mistakes that I see happen all the time. Oh, there I am. I have to close the chat so I can see. Okay. And the common mistake I see is TMI. Too much information. Founders are putting a lot of information into a short amount of time. But that runs risks because if there's a lot of information, it goes by in a blur and it's hard to remember it. And I want you to think back. I want you to really think realistically on what's your purpose in that pitch. Let's focus on our purpose. Your purpose in that pitch, particularly in that first meeting, is not to get money. It's to get to the next meeting. So at every stage of the game, first meeting, second meeting, third meeting, is to keep that conversation going. Which means when you're pitching, you don't have to include everything. You have freedom to be concise. And your goal is to make sure that the content's focused on what investors want to know and that you're engaging. All right. And to do that, we want to be investor focused. So here's what I mean. So the freedom to be concise is because no one invests after a first pitch. You actually want to leave them wanting more. You don't have to include everything. But this I realize is hard because you're an expert. You know so much that you could talk about your business for hours. But if you cram a lot of information in that short pitch and it goes by in a blur, it's more than likely that investors will remember nothing. So we want to make it easy for investors to remember. And to do that, you have to be concise. I've heard investors tell me after pitches when we're talking about what we've seen, and they'll say, I've just read a 20-page deck and I don't know what they do. Or they might say, I've listened to this whole pitch. I don't understand it. Just don't get it. So we need to make sure that our pitch is investor focused. And to do that, it requires a bit of a mindset shift. I want you to be in the mindset of investor focused, meaning that your pitch is all about them. It's not about you. It's about what they want. And to do that, I want you to think of your pitch as a gift. You're gifting investors this opportunity, not in an arrogant way, but in a way that you would be buying a gift for a loved one who has a special birthday. You're going to think of a gift that's meaningful to them. You're going to think about what's important to them. And then you're going to deliver it with care to make sure they receive it. So that's what you're going to do with your pitch. You think about the content that's meaningful to investors. And then you're going to deliver it in a way that's engaging so that they can really get it. So let's put yourself in the shoes of investors. Okay? They want to understand what you do. They want it to be easy and concise and clear. So how can we do that? So we're going to think about the investor perspective. What is it that they want? And what can we do to make it easier for them? I'm going to start with the beginning. Okay, let's start with our introduction. Especially in an online pitch, you need to make sure that that introduction is super clear. Make sure that they understand what you do right at the beginning. This puts the rest of the pitch into context. It gets their attention. And if they start getting urgent text messages from their kids while they're listening to you, they will at least remember what you do. In presentation skills, we call this the hook. The hook at the beginning should concisely and clearly explain what you do in a way that resonates with your listeners. And that way, everything you add afterwards will make them think, oh, okay, I get it, because everything's going to make sense. So this sets the stage for the rest of your pitch. So you want to keep your hook short and simple, just easy to grasp the essence of your business. And short and simple is important so that it's memorable. So think about, let's talk about how to create a great hook. What you want here is a one-sentence elevator pitch. Maybe 2 sentences. It's better to keep the sentences short. So rather than cram everything into one really long sentence, 1 or 2 or 3 really short sentences that are memorable will help. I'll give you some examples. You could use this format of I help X do X so that, and then customer benefit, right? So think about what you do, who you help, and how they benefit. Or you could do a format of we create this, or we provide X, keeping it in mind that it's focused on your customer, right? What do you create for your customers? What do you provide for your customers? A third example of a really good hook would be a tagline or something that puts you in the context of something that's familiar. You could use one example might be that we're the Airbnb of our industry, or we're the Uber for our industry. I mean, obviously you would be very specific about how that relates to what you do. So this will take a little time for you to create, but the key is that your hook is going to make it easy for investors to understand what you do, and it's memorable. All right, so we'll think about that. We'll have a little practice at the end, if for anybody who wants to practice their hook. So keep taking notes, start jotting down ideas for your hook. Next, we're going to talk about the delivery part of your pitch. Second most, so your pitch, we want it to be memorable and we want you to be engaging. Actually, before we do that, there's one more thing I want to say about the content. The rest of your pitch, after you have a great hook, we want to make sure that it's all investor focused. We want your pitch to only cover what investors want to know. So let's just think about the investor perspective here for a minute. Investors want to know if you're a fit. So make that clear. If you know that you're talking to an investor that invests in this stage, in this industry, with this kind of company, then let them know that right at the beginning so they know they should pay attention. And the other things that investors really want, they want to know about your business model. They would love to know if you have traction, and they want to know if this is a great market opportunity. So make those things clear. An investor friend said to me recently, she said, we get a lot of great product ideas with no business model. So maybe you do have a great business model, but if you don't talk about it, the investors don't know that. So don't get too hung up on the product part of your pitch. Investors don't want a sales pitch. Investors are not your customers. So don't make your pitch all about your product. Make it about your business. So if you, I want you to think clearly if you're too product focused, because here's if you look at your pitch. If you talk about product features for more than one slide, if you spend more than one slide talking about how your product works, if you give us all sorts of information about your product development history, you're probably too product focused. If you're missing your business model or your market opportunity or how you reach your customers, you're probably too product focused. But this is why this happens. I totally get it. This is not about, being judgy. We talk about what we know, right? We love to talk about what we're working on. So I get it. You believe in your product. You're deep in product development. You're excited about your future product development plans. It's exciting. But if you talk too much about product in an investor pitch, then the investors are they have to figure out who's going to buy this cool product. How big's that market? How are they going to reach their customers? So don't leave those things a mystery. You don't want to confuse them and have them trying to figure out how this works as a business while you're talking. All right. Because human nature is that if people are talking about something that doesn't feel relevant to us, Like if you were listening to a presentation and at some point you thought, oh, they're not really talking about stuff that's relevant to me, you would stop listening. So in an investor pitch, if I'm hearing about a product and I think, oh, I don't see how this business relates to me, I stop listening. So save those product details for a follow-up meeting and help investors understand your business. So now I want you to look at your pitch with fresh eyes. Notice if it's too much about your product and if it has enough about your business, because we want to make sure that it includes everything that your ideal investor wants to know. Then you're going to be engaging. Okay, now you've created this great pitch content that's investor focused. Now we want your delivery to be investor focused. And this means you're going to deliver it in a way that connects with investors. I recently was a judge at a hackathon, and the judges, we got in our room to talk about who we liked best. And the first thing that somebody said, an investor said, I know who my favorite founder is. It wasn't, I know what my favorite business is or my favorite idea. It was founder. And it was because that founder was really engaging and had great communication skills. So delivering an engaging pitch is just as important as having a great pitch deck. You want that delivery to be just as investor focused as your content. Because if it's not, we run the risk that investors will stop listening. And in an online pitch, the risk is 10 times greater than an in-person pitch because people can get easily distracted. They'll start reading their phone and they won't remember you and your message if they get bored. And so the biggest mistake I see here is that founders are spending lots of time on their deck. They're just hyper-focused on, here's my deck, preparing my deck. We get feedback on our deck. That's where we put our time and energy. Now, and I totally get it because, everyone tells you to prepare a pitch deck. Investors will even tell you what they expect in a pitch deck. And if you research investor pitch, what do you find online? Deck templates. Nobody says, oh, and you also have to sound engaging. They don't warn you. If you're boring and you're talking to your slides or you're looking down, well, you will stop listening. But that's what happens. So if you're putting all your effort and your preparation into just your deck, you're missing a really big opportunity to connect with your listeners. And the best way to keep your audience engaged and to connect with them is to speak in a compelling way and to be engaging. Okay, so why is this important? Because investors don't invest in decks. They invest in people. They invest in teams, that they have confidence in their capability and their commitment. And they invest in people that they like and trust. In investor discussions, I often hear people say, oh, I really like him, or I love that team, or gosh, she's an amazing entrepreneur. I've never, ever heard them say, wow, I loved that deck. Ever, never once. So I want you to be really focused on that. You've probably heard this golden rule of business. All things being equal, people will do business and refer business to people that they know and like and trust. And so you want them to get to know you, to get to like you, and to feel like they can trust you. And to do that, it requires an engaging delivery. Okay, so you need both. You need that great content with in your deck, and you need engaging delivery. And engaging delivery is just as important as having a great deck. So how do you do this? Okay, I know it's not easy. I'm going to go back, actually. The first thing is mindset. There it is. I want you to go in with the mindset of that you're relationship building. You're there to build relationships, not just, here's my deck, give me money. A pitch is the beginning of a relationship. Most investors, their number one influencer in their decision to invest is team. So they want to get to know you. So it's important that you show your enthusiasm, that you show your personality. You have to let them get to know and like and trust you. So how can you do this? How can you be engaging? Well, first of all, practice your content so that you can show your enthusiasm and personality. It's not just about, here's my deck. You really need to practice the delivery. If you're committed to this business and you're motivated by your mission and you're going to create something special and make this positive impact on the world, show it. Reading from slides does not convey passion. So if you're building a relationship here, deliver like you really mean it and build that and connect with your listeners. And know that this process is going to take a while. Okay. Building relationships is kind of like with investors is kind of like dating. You want to get to know each other. And like dating, you don't make a commitment after just one date. You want to build rapport, give them that confidence to know and like and trust you. And you want to get to know them. You should be asking them questions once you get to those meetings. So here's the tips. For having great delivery is to start by practicing with no slides. Okay, I want you to treat your deck as visual support, which means first, practice with no slides. This will allow you to not be anchored to slides so that you're not staring at your slides when you're giving a pitch. As you practice, be deliberate with eye contact. Be deliberate, be like, get used to your pace. You want a natural conversational pace that's easy to listen to. And the best way to do that is to record it. Okay, so practice with no deck, record it. Whether you can record it on your phone, record it on a Zoom call with just you or you and your team, and then play it back and watch it. And watch, are you thinking about your eye contact? Is your pace easy to listen to? I recommend all of my clients to use Udly. So that's the link for Udly, app.udly.ai. It's a great app that when you practice, you can record it and then it'll play it back and it'll tell you, if you have eye contact. It'll tell you if you're speaking too fast or too slow. So it's very helpful, but you need to practice your delivery so that you're engaging. And keep in mind where your eye contact is. And it's going to feel awkward, but your eye contact is that little itty bitty camera. And so if you're looking at people's pictures or your picture and it's down here in the corner, you don't have eye contact. So make sure you practice with putting eye contact at the camera. I'll give you one hack that I like to use is I shrink my Zoom window to be just under my camera. So I can see your faces. So keep smiling. Come on, I need some smiles there to keep me going too. There we go. Thank you. I can see your faces and it looks like I'm looking at my camera. So that's just one thing you can do. But it does take practice to do that on purpose. Okay, so if you want to be effective at pitching, improve your communication skills so that you're engaging and go in with that relationship building. If that's the mindset, it'll be easier to feel like you're connecting to them. It's not just about delivering that deck. Okay, the next thing we want to do is to make a great impression. Okay, actually, before I show that, I'm going to ask you some questions. And I would like use the reaction button. And these might sound harsh, but I want you to really think about it. These are real things that I've heard and seen as an investor. Okay. If you were giving a pitch in person, like you were invited to an office of a VC or an angel group, would you stand in front of the room and look down at your notes or your computer the whole time and never look up? Yes or no? Okay, we got some thumbs down there. Of course we wouldn't. If you were invited to pitch in front at a VC's office, would you bring your kids and have them running around or sitting behind you? Yes or no? No. If you were speaking in front of an angel group, would you sit in the dark corner with your hoodie on so that we couldn't see your face? Yes or no? Of course you wouldn't. If you're speaking in front of a group, would you stand on a table so that we have to look up at the ceiling light, or to see your face, we're really looking at the ceiling light so that it hurts our eyes? No, you wouldn't. So when you pitch in online, I want you to treat it as if this is in person and you're going to make as much of an effort. Because I have heard stories where people are giving a pitch in a car with their kids in the back seat, being a distraction. I have seen people give a pitch where they're in a dark room with a hoodie on and we can't see their face. And I've seen people give a pitch where their camera is looking at this sort of an angle that we're looking at the ceiling light and can't see their face. I've also seen pitches where we can't hear the person because the sound is so bad. So this is all, and I'm sorry, I don't want this to sound judgy. I'm just warning you that it just doesn't look right. It doesn't look like that person's made an effort. So when you are giving a pitch online, the mindset you walk in with is, I'm going to make a great impression because I want you to look like a CEO who's capable and confident and investable. And to do that, you need to be in control of your executive presence. Right? So this means you plan ahead a little bit. Okay? Dress like you would as if you were meeting in person. I don't care if you're wearing shorts underneath, but at least dress like you were coming to a meeting. You know, and I think that will vary by industry, right? You might show up with a black t-shirt because that's what all the VCs are wearing in San Francisco. I don't care, but don't wear a hoodie, don't wear a hat. Look like, you're the CEO. Test your sound. Make sure that, and if your sound on your computer isn't that great, get a microphone or a headset. But test it and ask people. Make sure you turn your phone onto silent or turn it off. Turn off the notifications on your computer so that we're not getting bing, bing, bings as your emails or LinkedIn messages are popping in. So think about this. It takes just a small amount of effort to look so much more professional. The other one, I want you to think about your setup. Okay. And the first one is frame the shot. Okay. This is your stage right here. The first thing with frame the shot is camera angle. We want your camera to be about eye level. It doesn't have to be exactly eye level. It can be a little lower or a little higher, but make it about eye level. It just looks so much more professional. People might not even think about it, but the one that looks almost eye level looks a lot more professional. The one where the laptop's sitting on their desk that might be too low and we're looking up this way at their ceiling light. Okay. It does make a huge difference. And then I want you to think about my chair made my screen jump. I want you to think about your background. Okay. We don't want kids running around the background. We don't want clutter. If you have a messy desk, like I do, use a virtual background. You can choose it doesn't take that much effort. Like this is a picture from, gosh, it's from when I gave a webinar right at the beginning of COVID. But using books, I use yoga blocks and empty shoe boxes to prop up my camera, okay, or prop up my laptop so that it's at eye level. So it's pretty easy as long as you think about it. Get a light ring. I like mine pointed away from me so the light bounces, because otherwise it's too bright, which is why I hate ceiling lights in somebody's frame. And I also want you to think about your posture. If you're giving a pitch and you're sitting back in your chair, it just looks a bit arrogant. It looks like you don't care. So my tip is to sit at the front of your first half of your chair. So you're not even leaning back. If you sit at the first front of your chair, it helps you to sit up straight. You can, helps you have better posture. You can breathe to your diaphragm, so you have more energy. Okay, so it's sort of helps with good delivery as well as looking good. Another tip, if you have a chair that spins, be careful not to spin it. I've seen people do that when they're nervous. So lock it if you have that tendency, which you will only learn if you watch the recordings of your pitches. If you're standing, which is also fine, don't shift around too much. Keep yourself anchored, because you have a very small stage right here, and you don't want to distract with too much movement. Okay, so executive presence is really important so that you look and sound confident and professional. And people might not notice what that difference is. They might not notice that, oh, your camera angle is better than the others, or you have a simpler background than somebody else. But it's just that impression. So pay attention to that. I have a handout for you. So lucky for you, you don't have to think about it too hard. I'm going to put this link in the chat so that you can get my handout. It's called Setup Checklist for Online Pitches. There we go. So click on that. You'll have to submit your email address, and then you will receive an email with a link to the download. And it's a very simple checklist, but it's 2 pages. So if you do everything on that checklist, you will at least make a great first impression. Then the rest is up to you, because you will have practiced giving an engaging pitch. You will create pitch content that is compelling to investors, and therefore you will have a great impact when you are meeting with investors. So please follow me online on LinkedIn. If you click on that link, you will join my mailing list. Don't worry, you can unsubscribe anytime, but stay on it for a while, because I share insights on investor perspective, on pitches, on communication skills, on events, but I only send like 2 to 4 times a month. I don't bombard people with emails. I just don't have time for that. And I don't like receiving tons of emails, so I don't give tons. I only give them when I have something important to talk about. And I also have training events and group workshops, which will be coming soon. So you'll hear about those if you join my mailing list or follow me on LinkedIn. I really, really encourage you to practice. Keep developing those skills, because you want a pitch that's memorable, engaging, and compelling, whether you're in person or online. And when you're online, you need to be particularly conscious of the fact that your pitch message has to be really, really concise and clear, and that your pitch delivery is very engaging to keep people listening. and that you set yourself up for success so that you can make a great first impression. And this is important because raising money is hard, especially now. So make these tweaks and effort now so that your pitch is memorable and engaging. Okay, so that's it of my content. Do you mind if we take a group picture? Because I just love giving these webinars. So I want everybody to turn their cameras on. I'm going to turn the chat off. Let's have a little wave. Let me get my screen as big as I can. Because of course I've shrunk it. So now I have to unshrink it. Okay, here we are. Camera. Everybody wave. I can't see all of you, but I can see lots. Hey. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so we will now have time for some Q&A, and you are very welcome to put in your 1-sentence hook. Put that in the chat so then everybody knows what you do. And if you want feedback on it, we'll probably have time for a little bit of that too. But I'm going to let John moderate the Q&A. So if somebody has a burning question, put your hand up. He's been monitoring the chat. Maybe he will know who's already asked something. John, is there something we need to?
Yeah, no, there weren't any particular questions. Elizabeth and I were putting concepts in. There were a couple of comments that were good reiterations. Again, if you want to be found, feel free to post your LinkedIn into the chat. But let's start with Q&A and see if there's some kind of discussion about this. And as Dana was saying, Dana had experienced, and I have experienced dozens of the, up the nose picture, can't see your face because the light behind you is too bright, all kinds of versions of that. So in so much as you can pay attention to that, that's good. Neerajan, your hand is up. I'm gonna manage the spotlighting a little bit. That'll make it a little bit easier.
Great, thanks, John.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't know my hand was up.
Okay.
It was a technical error, but I apologize. I came in late. I missed like first half of the meeting. I didn't know I had to register. I clicked on the link and I was waiting in the room, and so I was waiting to be admitted. But then I started to follow the rest of the process, and I joined near the end of the meeting. So
All right.
Apologize.
Okay,
So
John, will the recording be available on your YouTube channel later?
Yes, we're recording and we'll put this on the YouTube channel. I'll drop you off. If there's somebody else that has a question, please raise your hand. Yes, Dan.
Quick question. What are your thoughts on, as you can see, I wear glasses and tend to get that reflection off of the screen. What are your thoughts around that as to whether any hints or tricks on that, or just maybe not wear my glasses since I'm not reading off my deck?
That's true. Well, I mean, that's up to you. I don't want you to feel like you can't wear your glasses because you might need them and you want to be able to see people and faces.
Let's try an experiment for a second. If you look at if you look at your camera directly, then you get the thing directly. If you tilt your screen, you're on a laptop, tilt the screen just forward a little bit. Yeah. And there's a space in there where it will go away. Sorry.
And also, if you raise your laptop, use a little box or a yoga block or book to, I think if you were if your computer's a little higher, you can then angle your screen so that you won't have that reflection. If you use a light ring, don't have the light ring shining right at you, because then we'll see these circles in your glasses. You want to shine it like either at a white wall or something. I actually have a white paper stuck on the wall so that my light ring bounces light back at me without circles, because sometimes I wear glasses. So that will help your setup. It'll probably make it feel more, you'll feel more comfortable using it that way too.
Just playing around and
Yeah, play around with it until it works better.
cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. Thanks, CK.
Hello, hi Dana. Thank you for your advice and everything. I'm kind of curious as to whether or not creativity is something that's kind of valued more or less compared to the more structured approaches that you offered, like we are the X for the Y, or if there's like more of a storytelling kind of area of creativity that can be included that's valued, or if that adversely affects the pitch.
Well, I think creativity is wonderful. What you have to do is, but still keep in mind what investors want. So if you can creatively tell us a story that, in fact, I use storytelling with my clients all the time. Maybe there's a story of a customer that really captures the essence of the problem, their frustration, your solution, the benefits they have, and then how big this problem is for their whole industry. Then that's a great way to use that in the pitch. So storytelling is wonderful. Where to be careful of, though, is I've seen people come in very creative and don't like the structure. I can tell they're going, I'm not structured, I'm just myself. But they tell this story that, in fact, I heard it just recently. They had 7 minutes to give a pitch, and they started telling a story of why they started their business. And what happened was, after 12 minutes, they finally got cut off. So sorry, we're out of time. Like, you've used up your Q&A time as well. And it was very frustrating for me. It's like, get to the point. Tell us what we want to hear. You can use she could have used a great story to talk about problem solution in this big market opportunity, but the story was all about her and why she was frustrated. So why she started it. And so it didn't work. So there's the creativity, but then there's the be very conscious of the investor perspective. As long as you can creatively give them the information they want, then it's wonderful.
I see. Thank you. So it's about the
key
balance.
is being remarkable. So being creative and confusing is not helpful.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Garrett. You're next.
Hi, how's it going? I had a quick question about doing like group presentations, like group pitches. I know it's probably a pretty difficult to do in person, let alone online. Do you have any tips for that?
Yeah, I think when you're giving a group pitch, let's say it's to an angel group. So there might be anywhere from 10 to 40 or 50 people online. They're usually pretty clear about how much time you have and what to expect. So I would say for that is to practice the timing. The worst way to do that is to just kind of talk till you're cut off. I mean, investors want you to get through the key things of your pitch. So if you only have 10 minutes to cover these 12 topics or 10 or 12 things that they've said that you have to cover, including your ask and your financials and market opportunity and your go-to-market and all that, that means you really have to practice it to be clear and concise and include everything and finish exactly on time.
Thank you.
Yeah, it takes a little bit more, and you might have, you're going to have different versions of your pitch. You'll have your 5 minute, you'll have your 7 minute, you'll have your 10 minute, and then you'll have your notes for a half-hour meeting. But that requires practice so that you don't run out of time. Because I've seen it as an angel investor, I'm sure John has too, where people talk and they run out of time, and we didn't actually get to the bit that investors want to know. We want to know what's your ask, what's your exit plan, what are your financials. Didn't get there, and so that actually reduces interest because it was missing key information.
In general, multi-person pitches fail miserably, and they complicate things as well. And so I've only out of several thousand pitches, I've only seen multi-person pitches work twice.
Wow.
And that pitching back and forth was so well packaged, it was like a comedy routine, where they had worked it so tight that it flowed. And so most founders do not practice enough when you add the other aspects, then the amount of practicing goes up substantially to make it work, right? And I don't know about you, but most founders are not very good stand-up comedians. So there's a certain amount of adding to your troubles in a way.
That's
Thanks,
true. I sort of missed that part of the question. If you're doing more than one person, usually it's one person gives the pitch and somebody else can be available for Q&A to help out with that. But skipping back and forth is really hard to do it right. So you could have somebody else do the second part of it or the end, but going back and forth is very difficult.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. Eric.
Hi, how's it going? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, you're good.
Hi, Dana. Thank you for the presentation. I've learned that I will not wear the hat or the sweatshirt. Thank you for that. I'm in the construction industry, so it's pretty standard, but not for this. So my question would be, you had mentioned in the pitch that we want to focus more on the business model rather than the product. Do we want to do that same practice with the 1 minute pitch as well? Or do we kind of want to push the product in the 1 minute pitch, or do we focus on the model and our traction in the 1 minute pitch?
I would say if you have traction, mention that in the first 10 seconds.
Cool. What if it's not much traffic?
What investors are looking for in an early business is that there's some market validation. So if you have market validation through customers or through a waiting list or a pipeline, then you can talk about that and then tell us what that product is. But investors will be much more interested in hearing about your market validation than your product features.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
so much.
Thanks, Eric.
Elizabeth.
Dana, thanks very much. You talked a lot about the hook, and just in the last minute, you talked about the closer. So could you give advice on how people should be finishing off? What kinds of things should they be looking for? Follow me on my LinkedIn, arrange a meeting. I need this much money. Could you give some guidance on that?
Yeah, so the closing is a good time that's where we want a call to action. And in this case, for investors, it's a let's meet, or there might be something very specific, like there's a follow-up meeting for next week, please join us, or let me know if you have more questions. But I also like to finish where we come back to the hook and leave investors with something that's memorable. So whether it doesn't have to be exactly the hook, but it might be related to the vision, right? Our business is going to do this, and we'd love for you to join us. Particularly if it's an impactful business that has a very specific mission, and the investors you're talking to are also mission driven. But the idea is always to have finished. A lot of people run out of time if it's a timed pitch. So make sure that there's enough time to get through the ask of here's how much we're raising, and this is what we're going to do with that money. And then you can invite people to join in that mission.
Yep.
Thank you.
So I want to bring up something important. When companies are raising money, they're using an exemption. And when that exemption is Reg D 506B, then that is a private solicitation. So doing this is how much we're raising thing at the end of a public pitch can
you can't do it
yourself in trouble. So be aware of whether you're in a public meeting or not. And if you're in a public meeting, that means that anyone who is unaccredited could come to that meeting. Then it's not available for you to say, and we're raising X, or won't you talk to me about investing, or any of that. Just do the more gentle. If you're interested in having a conversation, come chat with me. Thank you, Elizabeth. Christine?
Good point, John.
Hi, thank you, Donna. This is a super tactical question, but I'm all set up on Zoom with my company background slide because I have Zoom, and so it all comes up and I look very professional. But when I'm on Google Meets, like today, I got my glaring TV in the background, or if I'm on Teams, and I guess I just haven't invested in it. But question on how to get yourself set up on kind of a foreign platform, if you will, so you look just as professional as on your native platform. What are the tips and tricks to do that effectively?
Well, I've been invited. I usually use Zoom. Actually, this is Zoom. We're in
Yep.
Zoom. But even in Google Meets and Teams, as I'm logging in, I always log in a couple minutes early, and there are virtual backgrounds. Like this is just something on Zoom. I didn't invent this. This is my, see, this is a virtual background. And the one that I use on Google Meets is different than this, but still quite simple. And there's one in Teams. And sometimes you just blur it, right? I think anybody, you can just go down to the bottom and blur your background. So at least then there's no distraction behind you.
The hard part, I mean, all of them have backgrounds, and that's useful, and you should do something useful with your background so that you brand it. But for you, Christine, you have a problem with light coming from the back, which is going to make that
look at
pump
that
through. Yeah, see, that looks good. Yep. All right. Thank you. Zach.
Thank you.
Hi, I have a quick question. I wasn't there from the very beginning, but thank you so much for the information you put it out there. So my question is like, I know the 1 minute is not enough. So what specific key ingredients do you have to give us? Like within that 1 minute, what aspect of your product or business do you need to capture? Like when you're pitching for that 1 minute?
Yeah, so in a 1 minute pitch, we really want to make sure that we're focused on what investors want. And we also don't want to look at your ceiling light. Zach, can you turn your camera a little bit? So I'm trying to look at your face, but I'm looking at your ceiling light. A little further, move that way or that way. A little more, little more. Thank you. That's much better. Yeah, or maybe just turn your camera the other way so that we don't have to look at the ceiling light. Yeah, see, it's all about setup. In that 1 minute, you only have time to cover 4 or 5 of the key things that investors are interested in. So you want the hook of what you do. You can talk about, then you could cover problem between these 6 things. You choose what's the most important. Talk about that you're solving a big problem. You have a unique solution. There's a really compelling market opportunity here. You have traction, particularly with customers or some kind of market validation. Or you have an amazing team that you've put together who anybody would follow no matter what you're going to do. Those are kind of the main things that you could get across. And the business model. In 1 minute, you might not finish all of those, but you could do 4 or 5 of them. So that just depends on your business and where you're at and what kind of investor you're talking to, what's going to be most interesting to them.
So I would turn it slightly differently. Why should I care about this company that you're pitching? Why do I want it to exist in the world? So I have to know what you do at some level to know what it is. And it's producing some kind of benefit. So I need to have clarity on that benefit. And I have to have clarity that there's a group of people that care that you have figured out how to talk to in some way, right? And then why is it that this team is going to be able to execute on this in a way that's going to be successful? Those are the things that I would lean towards out of that. Yeah? What do you think, Dana?
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Thanks, Zach.
And the answers of that why are usually within those 6 things I talked about, but really focus on why should we be interested?
Right. Thanks. Dan?
Yeah. I've seen recommendations that we post a pitch video on our various portals, Legust or whatever portal we use. would you want to include a video frame of yourself speaking next to your pitch deck, or as opposed to just having a voice over your pitch deck? Am I correct in assuming that?
Yes, my preference, if somebody's, I mean, I think most investors are first going to glance at the pitch deck and see if they even understand what this is, or they want to listen, or they want to learn more. Or some people who are very visual will first look at the video and then they'll look at the pitch deck. So I think the video, the whole purpose of the video is to see you, the founder, in action. So whether you add your deck to it or not, I think it's more important that we see you. And maybe it's you just talking for 1 or 2 minutes on why we should be interested in this business. And then people can look at the deck, get more details, look at your application, look at any other attachments. So, but that the whole purpose of the video is not to be guided through your deck. It's to see you, in my opinion.
Totally agree.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's so wonderful when John
Julia.
and I agree.
Hi, thank you also for your presentation. It's often the little things, like case in point, I clearly need to update my Zoom background, so it's not featuring my home office. But and also shout out to my husband for taking care of our baby right now, so I can do this and she's not bouncing in the background. My question is, it sounds like credibility, one way to show credibility is through traction, but I was wondering if another form of credibility to highlight could be the qualification of the founder. For example, this is an ex-Stripe, ex-Airbnb engineer. I'm just wondering if you've seen anything like that, like, oh, this is a former entrepreneur of so-and-so, if that has ever been highlighted in a 1-minute pitch.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, go back to the why should investors be interested? And if one of the reasons why investors should be interested is that this is a stellar team that's either already, you know, or a serial entrepreneur, or they have these unique technical skills and they've created something special, and everybody would want to follow them no matter what they're working on, then you absolutely want to highlight the team in your early pitch. Yeah.
Thank you.
But make sure that your credentials have a grounded story behind them, that just being a member of XY big company doesn't translate to you being effective. So try to make sure that they know you are an effective member. Okay. Eric.
Hi, one more question, circling back to Dan's question on the pitch video. My pitch video is somewhat of like a commercial, almost like an advertisement of our product. Would you recommend that I actually cut that and have really just me as the founder going through our product? And okay, I'm seeing John up in the corner saying yes.
Lots of opinions
yes,
from me, but
yes,
Dana, go ahead.
Because keep in mind, investors are not your customers. So you don't want it to be an ad for your product. You want it to be you talking about why investors should be interested in your business.
Okay.
So let's change the wording of that a little bit. The product that you're selling to investors is your company, not the product. And so it's the same selling process of, you know, framing the conversation and qualifying the customer and getting them to a close in all of the same ways you do with any sales process. But the thing you're selling is your business. So here's a piece of my business. Why is that a good business? Not here's my product. Why is it a good product?
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
And the number one thing that kills companies is bad teams. And the number two thing that kills companies is no market engagement, you know, lack of market engagement, right? So if you don't have good customer discovery and good customer validation, that'll kill your company, but not as fast as a bad team, right? So those are places where people are trying to answer questions intuitively about you.
Okay. Sounds good.
Ellen.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi. I'm Alan Morgan, and My question really has to do, because I know this is brought up many, many times, is, investors want to invest in you and your company. And in my case, I've been working on this virtual world game project since 2008. And I've had people come and go as far as part of the teams. Most of the people that have helped me have been volunteers from all over the world, everything from Serbia to Australia, that have contributed content and helped flesh out storylines and things like that. But we could never get funding. So everybody went by the wayside. They all disappeared and went on with their own careers and lives. So I guess I'm trying to figure out the happy or the sweet spot that helps investors understand that they are, obviously if they're investing in a business, which is the game studio, but the game studio has one project, and it's this master virtual world project that's been in the works for a long time. And the only traction I can show is the people that I've actually have as followers on social media, as well as people that have bought my book, which I finally got published, which is the background of the story behind the game, all of that stuff. So I've shown progress and sticking with it and getting things done with no money other than my own. So how do I?
What I'm hearing is a project, and what I
Yes.
haven't heard is a business.
Right.
And the reason there's no business is that you have no one paying you.
Correct.
Because nobody's playing with your game, not even with little paper versions of the game. There's no definition of enough of a thing for people to line up and pay you. So you're still in project land without the ability to say, and I have a bunch of people that care that this works. I'm currently testing an alpha version of a game right now. So I know that it's possible to do that, right? To have people engaged in the act of building the engine of the thing and still being paying members of some kind, right? And where you show an audience that cares enough to commit resources, time and money is good, but money is better than time. There are lots of people that will donate time for entertainment, but not pay you ever. So then that's not a business, right? So what is it that the investor is investing in?
Is finishing the project, helping to finish the project.
They're investing in the process of getting more money back.
Right.
Okay. And you have not demonstrated the engine that gets more money back.
Well, I have a demo published already.
But where's the audience?
The audience is testing it out.
Well, but they don't have to be free testing it out, people.
Right. Got
That
it.
answers a different question, right? And Dana, I'm jumping in here. Please go
No,
ahead.
I totally agree. I totally agree. If you had paid users or waiting list of people who said, when this is ready, I want to use it, and they were paying, then that would show investors that this isn't just a project, it's a business.
Got it.
I mean, maybe if the only people who really get it are your users, see, maybe this is the sort of thing that crowdfunding would work better than outside investors. Are they going to put their money where their mouth is and invest in the business, or pay to use it as paid users?
There are plenty of game investors in Seattle, right? Lots of game people, lots of game people in Seattle. Lots of people getting funded by other game entrepreneurs that have transformed, right? But if you have a game, the foundations of games is that there's an audience, right? There are many people playing it. Given the many people playing it, then that's a perfect opportunity for a crowdfunding opportunity with that process. But it's also an opportunity to get some of the investors to do the due diligence on the game and be a lead investor on the crowdfunding platform, which de-risks the conversation about it. So if they like the game and they want to see more of the game, and you take and you do the little version of the solar system by giving them a moon, and they play there and they like the dynamics enough so that you can then fund the planet, and then the next planet, and then the next planet. The going through the development process can be a thing that can be used to grow an audience that then cares that it gets finished, which then can fund several steps along the way.
Gotcha.
Well, good luck, Ellen. It's a tricky one.
Julia.
Thank you. Follow-up question from a previous discussion. Is it possible, and apologies if this is out of scope, but is it possible to have your call to action or your ask at the end of your pitch not necessarily be for funding, but hey, can you connect me to a potential network? Do you have any network or connections that you could extend to me? Personally, we're not in the process where we're looking to raise funding. We're actually in the process where we're trying to research users, do that customer discovery. And sometimes investors are, it seems like investors could be a good network for reaching our target users.
Who was your target user?
Modern options traders, people who like to trade specifically options.
I would suggest that angel investors are a crappy source of option traders.
Okay.
And that what you're trying to do is to find a channel in your customer discovery effort that reaches the people that you care about. But in the more general answer to your question, yes, but be specific about what you're trying to do. When you say, can you introduce me to this generic group of people? It doesn't cause me to have an image of one of my connections show up in my head. When you say, I'm looking for someone that's, kind of precise like this, then 2 or 3 people will pop up in my head that, oh, I could introduce you to Fred or Sue, right? And that'll make it go more precisely. But angel investors in general are good networkers, but the place that you're probably going to want to be doing this is at the meetup groups where you're getting a mix of people to try to find that. So that the investors are maybe the day traders or the other professional groups that are gathering around that gets you to the channel that you want.
Thank you so much. That's great insight.
Dana, any thoughts about that before?
No, I agree with what you said.
Okay. Hi, Joanna.
Hi. I would like to circle back to the discussion with Alan about investing into a game. And since there were crowdfunding mentioned, you thought it could be perceived as a de-risking factor by an investor. Actually, I was told otherwise, that crowdfunding makes investors to step away. Like they don't like to share the company with so many, which, crowdfunding is
right. How you set it up matters a lot. And so the question that most angels and actually really most venture capitalists want is for you to have a tight cap table. Which is to say that the number of stocks that you've given to different people is a small and manageable number. And the reason that you want that is because every time there's a key decision, you have to get signatures from everybody. So I have 24 hours or 48 hours to accept this deal. I need to get an answer from all 200 people. It's just not going to happen. I need to get an answer from 8 people. It'll be work, but I can get that done, right? So I want a small cap table, not a lot of people on my cap table. So how do you deal with that? One way is that you have different classes of stock. So those different classes of stock some of them don't have the rights which require them to sign on decisions. Right. So you just separate it. So here's the 8 slots that are available for, key big funders, and they have veto rights on a bunch of actions. And here's my crowd stock thing that I'm doing, that has, marginal information rights and no voting rights, and maybe some other benefit that is not in the other one, so that it makes up for the lack of that. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is that you create an SPV, a special purpose vehicle, and all of those people in the crowdfunding thing go into the SPV, and then the leader of the SPV is one entry on the cap table. And so in that context, the person you would like to be the leader of that SPV is an active angel that has reputation. And that's how you do the de-risking. have the leader of the SPV and the crowdfunding platform be an angel investor that is investing from an angel point of view, doing real due diligence, deciding to be on the team, and then using that as an anchor for the crowdfunding.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
the answer to what your question, Joanna, is really it depends. It depends on the industry. It depends on your business. It depends on how many users you have. If somebody has thousands of users who are loyal, then that's perfect to do crowdfunding to get things launched. And if the crowdfunding is, and I do think it's usually within its own SPV, so it's one entity, you're not going to have thousands of baby investors that you need to send emails to and get replies from and signatures and all of that. So that can be managed. If you're a small company with very few users and no name recognition, a crowdfunding is probably not going to work. So it just really depends on where you are in the journey and how you're structured.
Yeah, I understand this. Thank you. I was just a little bit, wondering, because I was told previously, if you want to go for investment, don't think about crowdfunding, because this will scare off the real investors.
No,
Yeah, but
I've seen people have both.
Okay.
But it depends.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Reese,
hello.
Hey, actually following up on that crowdfunding SPV scenario, and getting an angel investor to be your lead for that. I'm just curious, what's the incentive for someone to spend their time managing that? Like, do you pay them?
I wouldn't. In general, we don't pay lead investors. Lead investors are wanting you to make progress so that their investment in you goes well. And so the way that we pay angel investors is typically that we succeed and we give them an outsized return. And that's our expectation. And we don't usually want to pay other people to do our fundraising. Dana?
Yeah, no, I agree. And sometimes the crowdfunding platforms have this kind of built in where they take a carry and they promote with all of their followers as well as yours. But it really only works if somebody has a huge following with people that are waitlisted to buy your product or service, or they're already paying something and they want it to grow. It's not going to work for everything.
Yeah, so that a lot of the angel syndicates, they're showing up like the Angel List Syndicate and so forth, have a fee and carry that's sort of a baby micro VC kind of thing. I think a zero, we say 2 and 20 for venture capital, 2% fee and a 20% carry is sort of standard. I think for Angel List, it's much more reasonable to have a 0 and 10 or something like that, where there's maybe a 10% carry on the end. Because much of the work is happening on the platform and much of the mechanism for communication are happening on the platform. And so that there's probably a discount in there somewhere. But the most important part for me around crowdfunding, where I'm doing equity crowdfunding, is that somebody did real meaningful due diligence, and that due diligence then convinced them to be an investor, right? They wrote the 25, 50K check into the early stage company. Now I don't think this works reasonably at Series A. I think this is all pre-seed and maybe early seed, but not at late seed and not at Series A. All right, thanks. Any other thoughts or questions? Not seeing any hands, not hearing anything. What I would like to, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering, would anyone like to practice their hook, their 1 or 2 sentence intro? Oh, we've got a hand up already.
Hands up already. Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
Okay, so my name's Eric Byron. I'm the founder of IntelliStruct. We are an AI-powered construction management software designed to help streamline construction management processes. As of today, we have a traction of 250 email subscribers ready for our beta launch, and we have 11 general contractors interested in downloading the application once it's complete. We plan on launching at the end of March. And
Okay. All right.
yes, my first time doing this, so I'm a little
So
nervous.
that was more of an elevator pitch. I was sort of looking for your 1 or 2 sentence hook, but yeah, that made sense. So you're in construction. What was that first sentence again?
We're an AI-powered construction management software.
AI. Well, people love hearing AI, so good thing you got
Yes.
construction management software.
No, they don't hit like AI. AI is being bandied around like cannabis was,
Well,
like
exactly.
like crypto and all of that stuff. So, Eric, what's the benefit? What is it that the customer gets that they can't get anywhere else?
So in construction, we have pretty much one big player, and that's Procore Technologies. What Procore doesn't offer is instant retrieval of information. So when you're running a 60,
What's the benefit to the customer who's using it? You're going to save me money. You're going to open a door I couldn't get through before, or you're going to save me time.
yes, we're going to save money by running more efficient construction projects.
How much?
That's a good question.
Okay, so we cut the cost of construction management in half by doing AI-driven management of details in our construction management program.
That's much more memorable. Thank you. Yeah, see, we want to make it really memorable so they'll remember it later. So we don't want that first sentence too long.
Okay.
Or it makes sense in the moment, and then 5 minutes later, it's gone.
So just like she was saying that it's not about the product, it's about the benefits and why the audience will come, right? So the second thing is we have, 10% week over week growth rate in our sales to people who are in the nursing home industry or whatever, right? And those 2 sentences would like, boom.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Michael,
Michael.
just 1 or 2 sentences. We're just going to work on the hook for the moment, okay? And you're on mute. It always happens once, so that's okay.
Okay, is that better?
There we go.
Okay. I want you to imagine that you are walking through your lawn or garden, you see a weed, you point at it and pull a trigger and you kill the weed. Our product is a organic portable weed killing sprayer. Your grandparents didn't use Roundup to kill weeds, and neither should you.
So you kill weeds and it's organic,
portable,
and safe, presumably, because you don't need Roundup. Okay, so I like the visual, and then but the hook sentence
again,
was
that was a product hook, right?
But that was a product hooked. So can you tell us what the benefit is to me, the gardener, who hates using toxic chemicals?
You don't have to crawl around on your hands and knees killing weeds. It makes it fast, easy, and simple and safe. Safe for your family, safe for your pets.
Fast, easy. So we're going to keep really, really concise here because we want to remember this a week later. Fast, easy,
safe.
Safe. There you go.
Thank you.
Fast, easy, safe, weed killer. Now we will remember it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
And you cut my time to weed the garden in half, or in 1/10 or whatever. And you should go measure that number, right? And prove that, here's the picture with it, here's the picture by hand. No, this took 20 hours, this took 10 hours or whatever.
Got it. Good.
And you don't need Roundup anymore.
Right.
Sergey.
Hi, so we are building the first ever live video production control room in virtual reality, which would replace a few hundred thousand worth of video equipment that you typically would find in a broadcast control room.
Okay.
She did not understand you.
I didn't understand what you said. Yeah.
Say it again.
Sorry.
All right.
Can you say, assuming that I don't know your industry at all,
yeah,
who's your customer?
Our customers are people who are producing live video content online, basically, bloggers or people, professional
Content creators.
Content
Okay, so
creators.
you help content creators do what?
We created a tool which allows them to produce the content from multi-camera using virtual reality headset. So instead of typically you would find a control room full of video equipment, which is a lot of monitors and mixers and physical controls. So we put in all that equipment inside the virtual world and let them interact with it the same way they would interact with physical devices.
All right, so do you help content creators create content with only a virtual reality headset?
Yeah, instead of using,
okay, so it's faster and cheaper.
It's much cheaper and much
more engaging.
Yeah.
Okay, I would focus on the format of we help content creators do this. That's more blah blah blah, which saves them time and money, and they don't need to buy a lot of equipment.
Okay, makes sense.
Something like that. John, was that?
Yeah, no, I'm a fan of the Jeffrey Moore value proposition for this kind of people who are doing this kind of thing. We have this kind of solution, which creates this benefit, right? That's a simple starting place, but it gets all of the critical components, and then you can, rearrange those to get to something that's sparkly. But if you can't tell me who's the customer and what kind of thing it is and why this is importantly useful, then I can't get there.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Sergey.
Gabe?
Hey, hi, my name is Gabriel. I'm the founder of Viz Fitness. What we're building is a platform where gyms, physical therapists, personal trainers, and influencers can build workout programs to sell to their clients or followers. Where the problem with a lot of fitness software out there is that clearly people that are really good at building software and people that are really into fitness, these two sets don't overlap too much.
Okay. So your customer is PTs,
gym owners,
and trainers.
physical therapists, fitness influencers, and personal trainers.
PTs and trainers basically can create
workout programs.
And what's the benefit?
The benefit is it makes them more money. A lot of gyms out there, they have a lot of people come to their gyms. They don't know that people don't know what to do, and they cancel their subscription after 3 months after coming in January. This gives them a program to follow that you can upsell as part of their subscription.
We double the total customer, lifetime customer value for fitness influencers by creating a simple program utilizing software.
There you go. I like that. Increase the lifetime customer value. People will stay on longer.
Interesting. Yeah.
Frank?
Hi, my name is Frank Shah. I'm a co-founder of XPower. So we introduced the Smart Mobile Charging Bot, a groundbreaking charging solution that autonomously navigates parking lots and effortlessly charging EVs without the need for costly charging pole infrastructure. So our clients, there are two types of business models. One is direct sales. We can sell electricity to the EV owners while they park their car in a parking lot, or we'll sell the equipment to the garage owners or parking lot owners.
So a lot of people are giving us many choices, and what will help is if you have done the work to rank the value of the choices and pick one. So which of those is so for a startup, the number one goal is to be cash flow positive as fast as possible. So I don't really care if you've got a big market. so much as I have a big enough market to get you cash flow positive in the near term. So which of those two paths will get you to cash flow positive fastest?
I think the selling directly to the garage owners will be
Okay.
quickly.
We help garage owners create a benefit for their electric customer or electric vehicle customers by bringing the charging unit to the car, and they don't have to wait at the charging station.
Yes, that's exactly right. Okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Dana,
Yep. No, I agree. You nailed it.
Thank you
Yep.
very much.
Keith.
Scrum is the world's first radio GPS tracker designed for ski resorts. By partnering with ski resorts, we give them an offering that they can market around the world to attract customers to their resorts. We partnered with one of the biggest ski resorts in Canada this year, and of the 4 resorts I've visited in the last 2 weeks, they are all going to sign up, including one of the biggest in North America.
Okay, so your customers are ski resorts. I missed the very beginning because that went by a little fast. How do they benefit?
Okay, so it is a GPS tracker designed specifically for ski resorts that uses radio rather than cell to cover vastly larger areas of the ski hill.
So they don't lose any skiers.
Correct. And that you can find your loved ones on the hill. So primarily for families, kids without cell phones, they can see every 10 seconds where their child is on the ski hill.
Oh, so it's tracking everybody. So everybody, like in their ski ticket, gets a little tracker?
No, we're doing it as a rental or a purchase device, so it is an add-on to the ticket. Ski resorts find it sells better when it's not part of the ticket because people will just expect it that way.
Okay.
They get an app with live replay or daily replays they can see everywhere, lots of stats.
So you're giving resorts another revenue stream by giving their skiers a benefit of GPS tracking for families.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I changed my usual.
When you said ski trackers, I thought you were talking about like avalanche tracking devices or something.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Yeah, I would make that a little shorter and really focus on ski resorts are liking this, that they have, an added revenue stream or increase their lifetime value, or what's the word, John? Increase the value of their customers.
Lifetime customer value.
It's not even lifetime. It's more like in the moment, they'll spend more money.
I think what you're looking for is an upsell.
And yes, exactly. I haven't had breakfast yet.
Me neither.
Really focused on this webinar. Yeah, so you're giving ski resorts that extra revenue stream to upsell this service, and families love it because they can always find their family.
Peace of mind. So.
Peace of mind. Excellent. Thank you.
David.
Oh, thank you. I'm David Busby, CEO of OpenTHC. We make a suite of open source line of business technologies for cannabis and other high value crops. We streamline and optimize these business processes for regulatory compliance obligations.
Whoa. I'm already confused.
All right.
So you're in, what's that first sentence? Keep it short. This is memorable, not packed full of information.
Line of business softwares for cannabis and other high value crops.
Line of business
software.
So
that's
I don't know what
ERP.
Okay, so you sell software to cannabis to do, what's their benefit?
Streamlined and optimized business processes.
Okay, what's the benefit of that?
So there's a compliance question in there, right?
Efficient than a non-streamlined process.
Yeah, I'm going to sound mean and say, so what? I want to get down to like, what's the meaningful word that somebody will go, oh, nobody says this morning, I'm going to wake up and streamline my business processes. They wake up and go, I have a problem that I'm spending too much money or too much time or
Oh yeah, that was the sentence right as I got cut off, which was regulatory compliance obligations.
Okay, let's stick with that.
100% of my cannabis farmers know that they have this obligation, and it's terrible for them, and they hate it really a lot. And so when I say
Excellent.
something like streamline your regulatory compliance obligations, to them they hear, I will save $4,000 a month.
Well, why don't you tell them the simple version? Because investors are not in the trenches of regulatory compliance, but they want to understand why somebody would like to buy this product. So if you say, I help cannabis producers make regulatory compliance easy, less painful, and completed in half the time, and they're all wanting to buy this, then investors will see that there's a benefit.
Oh, my message is geared towards a consumer.
Are you getting investors?
No, I was just practicing my messaging going to my target audience.
Okay. Yeah. So, but you still want to focus on the benefit in their words.
But you think hitting the
fact right away that you save them time and money on the regulatory compliance process.
I didn't mention the money earlier enough.
You just mentioned a lot of things that confused me before you got to the main benefit. So focus on the benefit right away.
Thank you.
Yep. Good luck.
A3.
Thanks for the opportunity. DODA is in the construction technology space as well. We are tackling the discrepancies in building codes that architects and general contractors face among various artifacts like websites, the building drawings, and the specification documents. We are going to reduce the permit processing time by at least 50% and the overall construction time by 30%, making it simple, fast, and accurate. We have one paying customer now and 6 design partners. And I worked at Microsoft for 20 years in the search and AI/ML technologies. And my core team has experience in architecture, construction, academia.
Okay, stop. We just wanted the hook, just those first sentence or two. So you reduce the permitting time for builders, and is it the builders or the
builders and the architects?
Builders and architects. I would just say that at the beginning. For builders and architects, we help builders and architects.
We have the too many choices. We cover everything. We do this and that and that and that. And we're trying to take the opportunities and options down to the point of the spear and just say that one thing, right? And that has to be shiny enough that it makes me want to know more. So again, which market is going to go fastest and get you to more customers faster, right? And so is it the builders or is it the architects? And then, for architects, we do, right? What caught my ear was we reduced building time by 30%. Okay. Well, I know that dollars per day at building sites is an ungodly number. And so, if you're saving 30% on the cost of building, that's a, significant impact on margin for builders. And so if you can say, we double the margin for builders and their thing by saving them 30% of the time by putting all their documents in an effective engine that gets them what they need. That's all you have to say, right? And the builder should line right up. Who doesn't want your margin doubled?
Mm-hmm. Okay, start with the benefit first, and then, go after the target customer, which is architects and the general contractors.
Yeah, like what John said, one customer and the main benefit. Or maybe two.
Just stick to one customer, one or two.
Like if we help builders reduce permitting time and increase their margins, like, and then using DODA AI, like that's people will remember that. We just want that 1 or 2 sentences to get people's attention.
1 or 2 short sentences.
Sentences.
Without a lot of commas in it.
Got it.
Yeah.
And we do have one paying customer and 6 design
Yeah,
partners.
but that's later.
Oh, that's later. Okay.
I'm
So
doing the
I
one
still
or
say
two
that.
sentence hook. This is not the elevator pitch. This is the hook. This is the hook to make them go, oh, I should pay attention.
So there's 100 people all talking in a row, and you need to be the one where they go, oh, what is it that I need to pay attention to? And that first sentence is what does that.
Okay, got it.
Yuma.
Yuma, one sentence, please.
Hello, thank you. I'm founder of Travel Bay, and Travel Bay is a platform that connects local tour guides in Africa, travelers across the world. The problem we're solving is
Okay. So that's good. We're just after that one sentence. You connect local travel
tour
guides in Africa.
across Africa to travelers, from across the world.
Oh, that is so cool. I think that's really clear.
Yeah, but that doesn't tell you what the benefit is.
I know, we're getting there, but at least we understand what he does. You connect traveler guides across Africa to travelers. And what is the benefit?
The benefit is on the side of the customers, they get to spend less time planning and executing their trips, while the partners, local tour guides in Africa, get to increase revenue and bridge the trust gap from travelers that book their trips from across the world. So, yeah.
Okay, I like it. It could be shorter, like work on it, but as I've not been to Africa, but it's on my bucket list, and this sounds like something that, but that's as a customer. Now, investors want to hear that you are providing this benefit in such a way that people will.
For the 100,000 guides in Africa, we reduce the amount of time it takes them to find customers from around the world by 50%.
There you go, like that. Be specific.
That sounds good. Cool. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Remember, whatever number you say, you have to have measured it.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm not sure we're going to get to everybody with their hands up.
Yeah, I don't think we will.
We're running out of time, but we'll see what we can do. CK?
Okay, so keep it to one sentence, please, Casey.
Okay. So presently, 1 in 3 women over 21 consume cannabis. Venus Walks creates fine jewelry, smoking accessories for the cannabis community and will be launched this summer via e-commerce.
Okay. You produce cannabis accessories for women.
Yes.
All right. So why would women want cannabis accessories that's tailored to them? Is there a reason for that?
Other than just as the states are legalizing and other companies are coming into play, the representation for something more refined and elegant is not currently available, other than antiques from the early 20th century. But in terms of using fine jewelry and precious metals and gemstones, it's just not currently on the market for cannabis specifically.
Okay, so we produce cannabis accessories for women.
But she's talking about luxury. She's not talking about, I mean, there's plenty of cannabis stickers on the wall around the world. The problem is she's doing luxury cannabis fashion, which she thinks she's the only one of.
Okay.
There are other competitors like Houseplant and Edie Parker. It's just, like you said, kind of bringing that luxury lens to the cannabis space isn't something that's being pushed as much as kind of the juvenile designs and that element of youth. So it's a little bit of changing the societal dialogue, or attempting to, and kind of liking it to cigar smoking or wine collecting.
Okay. John, I think you must have met Casey before. How would you say that in a one sentence hook?
I think as cannabis hits the mainstream, we bring luxury branded cannabis jewelry to the fashion conscious woman.
There you go. Thank you. I knew you would get it.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
Joanna.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. The pandemic has changed the landscape of the downtowns, and the downtown businesses are still suffering low customer numbers. Now we are helping them to get more customers, but giving them an innovative marketing tool, which is also fun for the users. It's targeting the tourist segment of the customer market. And the customers will have fun playing an urban game, which is designed as a marketing tool for downtown businesses. So
okay, we
we
just
are
want one
no,
sentence.
Okay. One sentence.
that's
We
the best
bring
with
more
Tom.
people to downtown by having a fun urban game for tourists.
Okay.
Thank you, John. Yes, we're after this one sentence hook before
Aaron?
we finish the rest of our pitch.
Okay.
Hi guys, I just want to say I really appreciate what you guys are doing. I'm with SuperSketch. It's an art technology company. We created a subscription-based digital canvas for art collectors that a fine artist remotely paints on in real time.
That's
Okay.
That's a what statement. I'm looking for the why do I care question.
Okay, it's pixel perfect. It's always live. And it's paywalled like OnlyFans, but built for fine artists. It's completely new and proprietary.
We have a new fad for creative streaming digital artists to create new revenue models.
Okay, thank you.
For the 2 million people that are doing online streaming and hope to be the next YouTube Mr. Beast, we have a digital art mechanism that provides new revenue streams for digital artists.
I appreciate that. That's actually fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. Good luck.
Carrie.
We always love to help artists.
Thank you.
Great. Bloom is Glassdoor meets Match.com for permanent nurse hiring in hospitals.
Hold it. Bloom is who?
Glassdoor meets Match.com for permanent nurse hiring in hospitals.
Okay, so that kind of gives you that comparison on who you are of your industry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you match nurses with hospitals.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Is it better to be Match or is it better to be Glassdoor?
We're basically taking the nurse, we're doing hospital ratings by our community. I have a community of 900,000 followers of nurses, and they're rating their hospitals. And then we're using those ratings to help match nurses who are looking for jobs to their ideal place and increase retention.
So I think the combination of Match and Glassdoor, I have to process that piece there that slows me down. And I think really what you care about is the match, not the Glassdoor. I think I would put the help the millions of nurses that are looking for new opportunities in hospitals to find the right hospital for them and to give them the opportunity to be paid what they're worth.
Perfect. Thank you.
That didn't make me stop and think.
Yeah,
I was confused
when you make
by
me
the
stop
first
and
one.
think, then I, off into the weeds.
Yeah, take out the likenesses and put in the.
Well,
you could use Arch. Yeah, go
you
ahead.
could say that you're the Match.com for nurses to find the right hospital.
Okay.
And that's nice and short, but it's nice if you could include a benefit in there too, so that they find the right fit and get paid what they're worth.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Al.
TSP Therapeutics is a registration stage oncology company dedicated to helping oncologists save the lives of cancer patients that have stopped responding to immunotherapy and are currently dying because they have no treatment.
Okay, hold
option.
it. So your appointment, your customers are oncologists?
Right.
And what is it that you help oncologists do?
Save the lives of patients that have stopped responding to cancer immunotherapies.
So we save lives for cancer patients whose treatment regimes have fallen off the edge of current technology.
I have to be more precise than that.
You can
Okay.
be, but this is the hook. This is the one sentence to get people to listen, and then you can explain the rest.
So the thinking I had about the cancer immunotherapy is that it's a $70 billion market.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. No. So we don't have time. We're not going to go into the whole
Okay.
elevator pitch. We just want to give them the one sentence of what you do, so that they'll pay attention, and the other things you say will make sense.
Okay.
And your need for precision might be necessary for oncologists, but may not be so necessary for investors.
Okay.
Yeah. You first want investors to understand, then they'll dig into the details later. But you
Okay.
don't, if they get confused in the first sentence, they're not going to listen anymore.
I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good luck, Al.
Why?
Bye.
Hi.
新年快乐.
Thanks, Dana. Thanks, John. My name is Hua Yi, and so this is my pitch. Imagine a world where international multilingual learning is no longer bound by geographic limits. Building Academy is an innovative online education platform that connects children with global educators to dive into a variety of learning subjects taught in their second language.
Okay. Thank you. So, Bailin is, let me get this straight. It's an online learning platform where you connect students and teachers where they're learning in a second language from anywhere.
Yes, they are learning a content combined with a language. So they're basically learning a subject in their second language. For example, art in Chinese, math in English, but they are all offered to second language learners instead
And
of
the instructors are from all over the world.
yes.
Okay. So say that, make it shorter sentences so that it's conversational. Like if you and I were chatting over coffee, how would you explain it in one sentence?
Building Academy is an online education platform, connects students with teachers for, internationally for multilingual learning opportunities. Would that be better?
No, you missed the content part. I think the thing that's differentiating you is that we teach art in your second language, right? And so learning happens better in context, right? So you might want to say, we increase the effectiveness of online learning of second languages by learning the second language in the context of a subject field, right? Art, we teach art we teach art and we teach you to speak Chinese better by showing you the Chinese art as the hook.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So be specific.
I'm trying to create an image in my head of what it is that's happening, not the blah, blah, blah. We have students with it. We have a platform. It does second, that's too much not enough of a image. And so if you can create an image in that sentence, then it'll stick in my head. And especially if we teach you something outrageous that nobody else has thought of, right? We bring the dragon boat history to you by teaching you Japanese.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, think of it, just that first sentence is great to have that visual, particularly because you're helping parents or helping students learn a language while embracing a subject that they already like.
Okay, so Rika, you get to be the last one because we're out of time.
Right, so I will be very fast. So
don't be fast or I won't hear it. So it has to be concise. Not fast.
Right. I'm co-founder of a fintech startup based in the Netherlands. So UPledge is an impact fintech impact investing platform that connects retail investors with sustainable startup, leveraging artificial intelligence and gamification.
Okay, so your customers are retail investors.
That's correct.
And you help them to do what? What's the main benefit?
Right. So the benefit is actually we connect with, so we give access to the retail investors to the impact, to the, in this case, sustainable startups, right? So in other words, we mobilizing.
So are these unregistered startups? This is a startup
Yes,
angel
so
investment kind of thing?
startups, yes.
Yeah.
So they're not retail investors, they're angel investors.
Right. Retail investors, we meet everyday people, right? So the crowd, we connect with the with startups.
And that
So
works in
sustainable
Netherlands, but not in the US.
Okay.
Right. So
Okay,
we
EU
help retail
regulation for that.
investors become impact angel investors.
Right. In the EU, we have a regulation for that, that very strict regulation that is actually it works.
Yeah. But I mean, just a short sentence. We help retail investors find their ability to invest in the innovation of climate tech. No, not sexy enough.
Could you please repeat it? I'm taking notes.
We help retail investors find their investments into the innovation economy of climate tech. Or we allow retail investors to invest in the next generation of climate tech startups.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm just trying to be very narrow, right?
Yeah,
in fact,
to
you
really
can do
shorten
other
it.
things. That's good. Well, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dana. Really appreciate you working on this with us.
Thank you.
Thank you,
This was
everyone, for
fun.
coming. We'll do more workshops on the Seattle Angel Meetup Group, and Dana has a Pitch Perfect Meetup Group as well, where she's doing more pitch workshops as well as the regular workshops that she does. Please feel free to click the 3 buttons on the bottom of your chat and save the chat, and then we'll see you at the next meeting. Thanks very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
I need to save my chat. All right. Thank you, John. I'm so glad you could make it today.
Yeah, thanks so much.
And I'll send you the information for the one in March. We've got the speakers lined up for the panel. I just need to get that written up and